Then Yahweh spoke to Moshe in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tent of appointment, on the first day of the second month in the second year after he had come out of the land of Mizraim, saying, Take a census of all the congregation of the children of Israel, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, every male, head by head, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army in Israel. Number them by their divisions, you and Aaron. And a man from every tribe should be with you, each one of the head of his father's house. And these are the names of the men who stand with you, from Reuben, Etzar, son of Shealtiel; from Shimon, Shelemiel, son of Zurishaddai; from Yehuda, Nashon, son of Amminadab; from Issachar, Nathaniel, son of Zor; from Zebulun, Eliab, son of Helon; from the sons of Joseph; from Ephraim, Elishma, son of Amminahud; from Manasseh, Gemiel, son of Pedetsar; from Benjamin, Abidan, son of Gideoni; from Dan, Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai; from Asher, Pagel, son of Okran; from Gad, Elisaph, son of Deuel; from Naphtali, Aharai, son of Innan. These are the ones called from the congregation, leaders from the fathers' tribes, heads of the tribes of Israel. And Moshe and Aaron took these men who were called by name, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their ancestry by clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, each one head by head. And Yahweh commanded Moshe, so he registered them in the wilderness of Sinai. And the children of Reuben, Israel's firstborn, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, every male head by head, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Reuben were 46,500. And the children of Shimon, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, of those who were registered according to the number of names, every male, head by head, from 20 years old and above, from going out into the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Shimon were 59,300. From the children of Gad, their genealogies, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of their names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. And those who were registered of the tribe of Gad were 45,650. And the children of Yehuda, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. And those who were registered of the tribe of Yehuda were 74,600. From the children of Issachar, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Issachar were 54,400. From the children of Zebulun, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered from the tribe of Zebulun were 57,400. From the sons of Joseph, the children of Ephron, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Ephraim were 40,500. From the children of Manasseh, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Manasseh were 32,200. From the children of Benjamin, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Benjamin were 35,400. From the children of Dan, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Dan were 62,700. From the children of Asher, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Asher were 41,500. From the children of Naphtali, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Naphtali were 53,400. Those who were registered, whom Moshe and Aaron registered with the leaders of Israel, 12 men, each one of his father's house, and all those that were registered of the children of Israel by the father's house, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army in Israel. All those that were registered were 603,550. But the Levites were not registered among them by their fathers' tribes, because Yahweh had spoken to Moshe, saying, Only the tribe of Levi you do not register, nor take a census of them among the children of Israel. Instead, appoint the Levites over the Mishkan of the witness, over its furnishings, over all its belongings to it. They bear the Mishkan and all its furnishings, and they attend it and camp around the Mishkan. And when the Mishkan is to go forward, the Levites take it down. When the Mishkan is put up, the Levites put it up. And the stranger who comes near is put to death. And the children of Israel shall pitch their tents, anyone by his own camp, anyone by his own banner, according to their divisions. But let the Levites camp around the Mishkan of witness, so that there be no wrath on the congregation of the children of Israel, that the Levites shall guard the duty of the Mishkan of the witness. And the children of Israel did according to all that Yahweh commanded Moshe, so they did.
What is the purpose of this book in our Bible? I mean, everything in the Word is an instruction. Everything in the Word is a correction. So what are we to gather from this here? That first of all, the Father's people are separate. They are separate from the rest of the world. And the Father called them out, not because He did not know the number of those people, but because He wanted a record for us today, the people today, to know that He specified His people and He watched over them, meticulously cared for them. And He called out those who were old enough to go to battle. And I think when He called them out, and a little bit of archaeology here, when He called them out for a covering, an anointing. And I think that whenever they were numbered for His protection, because it was all the ones that were old enough to go out and fight. And I believe when He numbered them and separated them from the rest of the people, that He allowed for a covering to go over them and to protect them when they went to battle. And I believe that we, as a people today, understand how meticulously the Father cared for the children of Israel, his people. And we can understand, like I told my little brother here a while ago, we can understand that his eyes are on us, and we are valuable to him. We are valuable to him. And we need to understand that we are obligated to give honor and glory and praise to him, service to him. He is our sovereign. He is our king. He is our protector, our deliverer. He is our all in all. And I think this just so meticulously lets us know that the Father separated these people and called them out for his protection. I believe that with all my heart, that he had called them out for his protection. That was the reason they were numbered. Because these were men that were able to go to fight, go to war. And I believe his anointing was on them. Anybody?
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Well, first of all, the number 20 is quite interesting as we go on, because it was the age of 20 and over that did not get to go into the promised land. So that 20 is interesting. It's kind of interesting, too, that in Israel and in, I don't know, our country, too, the age to go to war is 18.
Yeah.
Makes more sense. 20 makes more sense to me. But anyway, the other thing that I'm curious about is the age, because there's an age that you don't go to war, and I don't remember where that's at. Does anybody, like age 60, age 50?
I don't think it gives a number for not going to war, but it gives a number for the cutoff of serving the temple.
Oh, for serving the temple.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, because quite frankly, I couldn't see, 77 me going out to war if I was a man. Just couldn't quite see that.
Yeah.
So there is no age about war. It's okay. Thank you.
If I can, real quick, we are working on recording Sabbath mornings for the ministry that we're working on down in Louisiana. So, if everyone, when you're commenting, will use the mic, that'll allow that audio to be incorporated. If you don't use the mic, they won't hear it. So, if we can, I know some people talk loud and such, and that's great. But for recording, that will help. So you can't hear anything when it's not in the mic on the recording. So, that would be fantastic. Yeah, we can't hear Carla's comment over here. No, she was just prodding me to make the comment, which is good. So, there we go.
Go ahead.
My opinion on war is what age you should go in is probably in your 30s, because you know kind of what you're doing. You're not experienced for the training, but you know what you're working for. Because 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds, they are new. They don't know what death basically is. They don't witness it. And when you're in your 30s, you know what death is. You're never prepared for death, but you're a little bit.
Well, I believe that's what they call basic training. They train you to know what death is and know that death is coming if you don't defend yourself. Obviously, whether you're 30 years old or 40 years old, when you come directly out of civilian life, you are not ready for combat. You are just not prepared for it. You're not prepared for what you're going to see. I believe one of the things that I really detest about our culture is that we have made combat and battle some glorious thing. Yes, it is honorable to stand up for your country and defend your country. But listen, combat is a dirty, filthy thing. I mean, you see people with their intestines laying out on the ground because there's no way to prepare you for that, no matter how old you are. It's just, it's there. It's one of the necessary evils of this generation, or this time, of this culture. So even from 18 years old to 20 years old, you're more agile, you're more physical, you're more able to combat at that age than you are at an older age. So I think that's the thing that was set forth there. The Father set the age, for the person to go into the battle, 20 years old and above. He set that age. So it's got to be right.
And my great-grandfather, whose name was John, he passed away, how many years ago? He passed away over 2 years ago. He was a Navy soldier, and so he served in the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
He was deployed when he was 17. And he was in the Navy, so he didn't really see any of the blood and guts. And he was a believer of God.
Yeah.
And I think God protected him from seeing bloodshed.
I believe that too.
And
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I really like timestamps. So just to throw it out there, so timestamp for this, we read in chapter 1, verse 1, on the first day to the second month in the second year after they had come out of the land of Egypt. And at the end of Exodus, I think it's 40:17, it says that it timestamps when the dwelling place, when the tabernacle was set up. And that was the first day of the first month of the second year. So this is 1 month after the tabernacle is set up. So just kind of to get a time frame. It's right, toward the beginning of them getting into the desert and leaving Egypt, but it's 1 month to the day after they set up the tabernacle. So.
And taking that into consideration, that there was many Gentiles that came out with them, and I'm sure that they had to have a separation, because even the court of the Gentiles that went up later on, that there was some separation there. So that's probably a part of why they numbered the tribes of Israel, because there was a mixed culture of Gentiles and Hebrews there too. Anybody?
So, if they were a mixed multitude, and every one of the Israelites have their station around the Mishkan, then the Gentiles are on the outside of the, that's where are they? Because it's not mentioned where they are.
It doesn't mention where they are. I assume that they were mixed in with the people. That's the reason they numbered them. I'm assuming that they mixed in, because whenever they marched out of Egypt, that there was a mixed congregation. And that, to me, that's kind of what the Father's doing here, is separating them. Anybody?
I don't know if Craig has any more on that. I think it's always an assumption, but I always felt like they got kind of grafted into a certain tribe. It's foreshadowing or prophesying in the future, but one of the prophets, and I can't recall who, talks about the nations at the end time, that they will have part, and I can't remember exactly how it references it there, if like they choose their tribe. I know, but they get into the tribes in some sort, and I think that's what happened here. I think RC, you're saying that, and so whether they chose which one they were in or what, I don't think that they were separate and not counted here. And on the outsides, I mean, we have the story of Flame coming and getting the outskirts of the camp, but I don't think that that's like getting the Egyptians that came with them. I think that's the people who really didn't care about Yah are furthest away from the tabernacle because they don't really care. So they're out in the edges partying and not being close in. But I don't think that we have like an actual scripture that says that they chose their tribe, but I think that they were in essence grafted in and they're numbered here. Would be my guess, or maybe not numbered, but still within the tents of Zebulun, within the tents of Judah, even though they might not have been counted if they're literally just counting the blood Israelites here.
Well, I think it's just a precursor of what goes on in Israel today when you apply for a citizenship in Israel and you are of Hebrew culture. It's not whether your father was a Hebrew or not, it's whether your mother was a Hebrew or not. And so I think it's a thing of trying to keep the Hebrew blood pure and with the father, to keep the Hebrew children separate, keep the tribe separate, keep it pure, and keep them from assimilating more with their blood, with their culture and their nature, their physical nature with the Gentiles more than because they were instructed not to marry of nations, even though they did marry in with tribes around them. So I think the Father struggled to keep Israel pure, and yet just like we are today, they still struggled, strayed out and did their own thing. Anybody? Go ahead.
I just had a question. Did you say that how did you say it, that it went through the mother's blood, even back then, if they were Hebrew, or are you saying today?
I don't know whether it was back then or not. It is today. I didn't live back then. I don't know. And there's no record of it there. Even old as I am, I wasn't back then. Anybody? All right.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying, The children of Israel are to camp, each one by his own banner, beside the sign of the Father's house. Let them camp around the tent of appointment at a distance. And on the east side, towards sunrise, those of the banner of the camp of Yehuda camp according to their divisions. And the leader of the children of Yehuda, Nashon, son of Abinadab, and his army with their registered ones, 74,600. And those camping next to him is the tribe of Issachar. And the leader of the children of Issachar, Nathaniel, son of Zar. And his army with its registered ones, 54,400. And the tribe of Zebulun, and the leader of the children of Zebulun, Eliad, son of Helon. and his army with its registered ones 57,400. And the registered ones of the camp of Yehuda, according to their divisions, 186,400. These depart first. On the south side of the banner of the camp of Reuben, according to their divisions, and the leader of the children of Reuben, Ilser, son of Shedeur, and his army with its registered ones, 46,500. And those who camped next to him, the son of the tribe of Simeon, and the leader of the children of Simeon, Shalumah, son of Jeridizak, and his army with their registered ones, 59,300. And the tribe of Gad, and the leader of the children of Gad, Elsphat, son of Ruel, and his army with their registered ones, 45,650. All the registered ones of the camp of Reuben, according to their divisions, 151,450. And they are the second to depart. And the tent of appointment, the camp of the Levites, shall move out in the middle of the camps. As they camp, so they move out, everyone in his place by their banners. On the west side, the banner of the camp of Ephraim, according to their divisions, and the leader of the children of Ephraim, Elisab, son of Amelihed, in his army with their registered ones, 40,500. And the next to him is the tribe of the Manassehite, and the leader of the children of the Manassehite, Gamaliel, son of Pedor, and his army with their registered ones, 32,200. In the tribe of Benjamin, and the leader of the children of Benjamin, Abihalad, son of Gideon, and his army with the registered ones, 35,400. All the registered ones of the camp of Ephraim, according to their divisions, 108,100, and they are the third to depart. On the north side, the banner of the camp of Dan, according to their divisions, and the leader of the children of Dan, Azrael, son of Aminashad, and his army with their registered ones, 62,700. And those who camped next to him, the tribe of Asher, and the leader of the children of Asher, Pagiel, son of Okran, and his army with their registered ones, 41,500. Then the tribe of Naphtali, and the leader of the children of Naphtali, Ahel, son of Enan, and his army with the registered ones, 53,400. All the registered ones of the camp of Dan, 157,600. They depart last with their banners. And the registered ones of the children of Israel by their fathers' houses, all who were registered according to their divisions of the camps, 603,550. But the Levites were not registered among the children of Israel, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And the children of Israel did according to all that Yahweh commanded Moshe, so they camped by their banners, and so they departed, each one by his clan according to their father's house.
I think that kind of addresses what you were asking a while ago. These numbers were because according to their father's house, you know. So, thinking, my understanding is that the father was the head of the clan, you know. So, even today, that don't mean that as Israel is accepting you, if your mother was a Hebrew, that don't mean it's right according to the word. That just means that's the way it was going. Anybody? Go ahead.
I don't know how many people was in the military. I was in the military. I was an infantry scout. And the father here, he's instructing them on how the movement shall be. So there's no confusion.
Right.
He's got it all laid out in the plan, how they're moving out. And then when they get there, it's nice how it just all comes into play, the way it goes. When we planned missions in the military, we had a saying: "Is Sergeant Major eats sugar cookies," which was the situation as sergeant. Major is the mission. Eats is how you're going to execute that mission, and then sugar is supplies and equipment you're going to need, and cookies was command and signal. Who you're going to talk to crossing enemy or crossing friendly lines, and who are you when you're coming back in? What passwords are you using to get back in safely? The Father lays everything out so that there's no confusion, and I like it, and you can see it. And then when it's all set up, a part of this numbering, I think, also was how he would set up he would put one leader in the middle, and then he put a tribe on each side of that leader. And so the camp was pretty well balanced out. So whether they had an enemy coming from the north, south, east, or west, the Michigan was the center protected. The Israelite or the Levites were inside, out around that perimeter, and then the others were around that perimeter. So the closer you got to the Michigan, the more protected it was.
Yeah. It's amazing today, even with the historians, they're amazed at how organized it was that many people were moved. They keep saying that it's impossible for that amount of people to be moved, and organized and moved with such organization. But the Father organized it where they knew what they were to do, and it was totally organized and totally systematic, But even with all the armies and generals and everything that we have today in modern history, they're still amazed at the organization that was there and the harmony that many people moved in. It's just amazing. And the Father set it up. As you said, He set it up. He organized it where everybody knew exactly what they were supposed to do. And I believe that there were, as I said, that there were Egyptians that were mixed in there, but they still had to be in the organization that they were in, whatever tribe they were mixed in with. Anybody? All right, let's go to 3.
And these are the generations of Aaron and Moshe when Yahweh spoke to Moshe on Mount Sinai. These are the names of the sons of Aaron: Nadab, the firstborn, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These are the names of the sons of Aaron, the anointed Kohanim, whom he ordained to act as Kohanim. And Nadab and Abihu had died before Yahweh when they brought strange fire before Yahweh in the wilderness of Sinai, and they had no children. So Eleazar and Ithamar acted as Kohanim in the presence of Aaron their father. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Bring the tribe of Levi near, and put them before Aaron the Cohen. They shall serve him, and shall guard his duty and the duty of the congregation before the tent of appointment to do the service of the Mishkan. And they shall guard all the furnishings of the tent of appointment, and the duty of the children of Israel to do the service of the Mishkan. And you shall give the Levites to Aaron and his sons, and they are the given ones. Give to them from among the children of Israel. And appoint Aaron and his sons, as they shall guard the kahuna, and the stranger who comes near shall be put to death. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Now look, I myself have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel, instead of every firstborn who opens the womb among the children of Israel, and the Levites shall be mine. Because all the firstborn are mine, on the day that I struck the firstborn of the land of Misraim, I kodesh to myself the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. They are mine. I am Yahweh. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe in the wilderness of Sinai, saying, Register the children of Levi by their fathers' houses, by their clans, register every male from a month old and above. So Moshe registered them according to the word of Yahweh, as he had been commanded. And these were the sons of Levi by their names, Gershon, Quahath, and Merari. And these are the names of the sons of Gershon and their clans, Libni, Shimei. The sons of Quahath by their clans, Amram, Yitzhar, Hebron, and Uziel. These are the sons of Merari by their clans, Mahali and Mushai. These are their clans of the Levites by their fathers' houses. From Gershon came the clan of the Libnites and the clan of the Shemonites. These were the clans of the Gershonites. There were registered ones according to the number of all the males from a month old and above. Their registered ones were 7,500. The clans of the Gershonites were to camp westward behind the Mishkan, and the leader of the father's house of the Gershonites, Elisaph, son of Lael. And the duty of the children of Gershon in the tent appointment was the Mishkan and the tent and its covering, and the covering of the door of the tent appointment, and the screen of the courtyard, and the covering of the door of the courtyard, which is around the Mishkan and the altar, and their cords according to all its service. And from Quahath came the clan of the Amorites, and the clan of the Yishmanites, and the clan of the Hebronites, and the clan of the Uzelites. These were the clans of the Quahathites. In the number of all the males from a month old and above were 8,600, guarding the duty of the Kodesh place. The clans of the children of Quahath were to camp on the south side of the Mishkan, and the leader of the father's house and the clans of the Quahathites was Elisaphan, son of Uziel, and their duty was the ark, and the table, and the lampstand, and the altars, and the utensils in the Kodesh place used in the service, and the covering, and all the service. And Eleazar, son of Aaron, the Cohen, was to be chief over the leaders of the Levites, with oversight of those who guard the duty of the Kodesh place. From Merari came the clan of the Mahalites and the clan of the Mushites. These were the clans of Merari. And the number of their registered ones, all males from a month old and above, were 6,200. And the leader of the father's house of the clans of Merari was Zerahel, son of Abihail. These were the camp on the north side of the Mishkan, and appointed duty to the children of Merari was the boards of the Mishkan and its bars, and its columns and its sockets and its utensils and all its service. And the columns in the courtyard all around with their sockets and their pegs and their cords, and those who were to camp before the Mishkan on the east before the tent appointment were Moshe and Aaron and his sons, guarding the duty of the Mikdash and the duty of the children of Israel, but the stranger who came near was to be put to death. All the registered ones of the Levites whom Moshe and Aaron registered in the command of Yahweh by their clans, all the males from month old and above, and were 22,000. And Yahweh said to Moshe, register all the firstborn males of the children of Israel from a month old and above, and take a number of their names. And you shall take the Levites for me, I am Yahweh, instead of all the firstborn of the children of Israel, and the livestock of the Levites instead of the firstborn of the livestock of the children of Israel. And Moshe registered all the firstborn among the children of Israel, as Yahweh had commanded him, and all the firstborn males by the number of the names from 1 month old and above of their registered ones were 22,273. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, take the Levites instead of the firstborn among the children of Israel, and the livestock of the Levites instead of the livestock of the Levites shall be mine. I am Yahweh. And for the ransom of the 273 of the firstborn of the children of Israel, who are more than the number of the Levites, you shall take 5 shekels for each one, head by head. Take it by the shekel of the Kodesh place, the shekel of 20 gerahs, and you shall give the children of the ransom of those who are in excess among them to Aaron and his sons. And Moshe took a ransom silver from those who were over and above those who were ransomed by the Levites. From the firstborn of the children of Israel, he took the silver 1,365 pieces, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place. And Moshe gave the ransom silver to Aaron and to his sons, according to the word of Yahweh, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe.
Anybody? I think it's just so obvious here how the Father has separated his people for himself. You know, these are my people. These are the ones I've separated. I called out for myself. The Levites, they are called out to serve me. They're not just regular people due to their regular duties. They are my people. I have called them out. They are my portion. I have called them out, and they are to serve me. And that today we are not Levites, but we are a royal priesthood that is called out to show forth the praises and the glory of Almighty Yahweh. That means we're not just common people. We have been given a Kadosh Spirit, and we are to walk in that Kadosh Spirit, being led by Almighty Yahweh, directed and corrected by Almighty Yahweh, and all that we do and say, that we are subject to him. We are his people. We are his people. You know, and if you want to, we are his possession. Thank you, Father, for protecting your possession. Anybody? Go ahead.
So I think along with that thought, that it goes both ways too. Like, we are his portion, but then he is also ours.
Oh,
and
definitely.
he says that multiple times of the Levites, not here in this chapter, but you know that they don't have land. They don't have farmland because Yah is their portion and he is their possession. And so that putting that on, you know, in our perspective today of being his servants and being willing to, you know, work in his kingdom, being used for him to do kingdom work. And that then, I think it was last week, the verse in Jeremiah that blessed are those who trust in Yahuwah and whose trust is Yahuwah. And I love that verse, that like, that he is that. Right. And so with that portion, that he is their portion, he is our portion, and that yes, he will supply our physical needs and even our spiritual needs. But like, we get to the point, or we hope to get to the point, that all we need, all we want, all we desire is him, and for that to be our portion. And then I also had a thought, it's very non-spiritual, but I was curious, when they're talking about the difference between the firstborn of the Levites, and and the firstborn of all the rest of the tribes, and there's that 253 that's different. And then in verse 349, just a minute, okay? It says, and Moshe took the ransom, silver, from those who were over and above those who were ransomed by the Levites, so that 253. From the firstborn of the children of Israel he took the silver, 1,365 pieces according to the shekel. And I, again, non-spiritual, curious, do you think they went from like Judah, not Judah, maybe Reuben, since he was like the actual firstborn, and like all of this was paid by Benjamin because he's the youngest, like his family, or they literally went like the firstborn from whatever tribe, then the firstborn of the next, like of 600, and I mean, there's that many above 20, and there's how many firstborns? I mean, 23,000. So if they're going through all these tribes, I just wonder how they did it. Are they going through and they're like, that's the firstborn. You're older than him, so you're number one. You're like fifth down. I mean, did they get all 22,000 in one place and like, okay, line yourselves up by your age? And the last 253, like the youngest, whatever tribe they were from or whatever, I just was curious, like, just wondering how this played out. We don't know. But just wondering, I thought it was just kind of funny in my brain of maybe they got them all together. They lined them all up and by age, and the last 253, that's the portion. And what a blessing. I assume they didn't think of it as a burden. Or maybe each tribe put in so much, or I don't know.
I don't know. This is pretty unspiritual too, but I don't know. It seems to me like they would have called out to the heads of each of the families or tribes and said, all the firstborn of each family, come, and gather together. And I think that's probably how they did that, is that they had them gather together and come together as the firstborn of each family, that the heads of that family knew who the firstborn were, basically. That's just our theology. Anybody else? Go ahead.
I don't think that's what she was saying, though. She was saying those who were above what the Levites were. How did they decide who was above what was above the Levites and who was going to pay for them?
Yeah.
I think, to me it'd just be they'd all, divided up between the tribes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, that's something for us to ponder on, isn't it?
But it really don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, it hadn't got much to do with salvation, I don't think. All right, let's go on.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, take a census of the sons of Quehath from among the children of Levi by their clans, by their father's house, from 30 years old and above, even 50 years old, all who will enter the service to do the work of the tent of appointment. This is the service of the sons of Quehath in the tent of appointment, the most Kodesh matters. At the breaking of camp, Aaron and his sons shall come, and they shall take down the covering veil and cover the ark of the witness with it, and shall put it on the covering of fine leather, and spread over that an all blue wrapper, and shall insert its poles. And on the table of showbread they shall spread a blue wrapper, and shall put on it the dishes and the ladles and the bowls and the jars for pouring, and the showbread on it, and they shall spread over them a scarlet wrapper, and cover the same with this covering of fine leather, and shall insert its poles. And shall take the blue wrapper and cover the lampstand of the light, and its lamps, and the snuffers, and its trays, and all its oil vessels by which they serve it. And they shall put it with all its utensils in the covering of fine leather, and put it on a bar, and over the golden altar, and they shall spread a blue wrapper, and covering it with a covering of fine leather, shall insert its poles, and shall take all the utensils of the service with which they serve in the Kodesh place, and shall put them in a blue wrapper, cover them with a covering of fine leather, and put them on a bar, and shall remove the ashes from the altar, and spread a purple wrapper over it, and shall put on it all the utensils by which they serve there, the fire holders, the forks, the shovels, the basins, and all the utensils of the altar, and shall spread on it a covering of fine leather, and insert its poles. And Aaron and his sons have finished covering the Kodesh objects and the furnishings of the Kodesh place at the breaking of camp. Then the sons of Kohath shall come and lift them, but let them not touch that which is Kodesh, lest they die. These are the burdens of the sons of Kohath in the tent of appointment, and the oversight of Eleazar, son of Aaron the Cohen, is the oil for the light and the sweet incense and the daily grain offering and anointing oil, and the oversight of all the Mishkan and all that is in it, with the Kodesh place and its furnishings. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, Do not cut off the tribes of the clans of the Kohathites from among the Levites, but do this to them, and they shall live and not die when they approach the most Kodesh objects. Aaron and his sons shall go in and appoint each of them to his service and to his burden. They are not, however, to go in and watch while the Kodesh objects are being covered, lest they die.
Hallelujah. It's very obvious here that the Father wants his holy or kadosh utensils covered and protected from the common, that it not be treated as common. Now let's take that a little further. We are chosen, set apart, the temple of Almighty Yahweh. That means we, by the blood of Yeshua HaMashiach, have become separate, sanctified to Almighty Yahweh for His service. We are to protect these vessels. We are to keep them protected from all the contaminations of the world. That we are not to treat these bodies as a common thing. It's not common. We have not got the choice of playing around a little bit in sin, or, staying away from, we just don't do nothing real bad, we sin a little bit, but we don't sin real bad. We don't have that choice. We are the temple of Almighty Yahweh, and we are to walk in a set-apart manner to Him, because that is our honor to Him. That's how we honor and glorify Him, with our life, with our speech, with our actions. Anybody? Go ahead.
The Father here is putting a hedge protection for the Kohathites, because they are the cover of everything, but they can't even look at it.
That's right.
They can't even look at it. They can't watch. They can't do anything. They cannot even come near until it's all covered, bundled up, because they can't see it or touch it.
That's right.
And then they can carry it off. But until that point, they cannot come nowhere near it.
It's obvious that the Father expects each one of us to stay in His calling, where He has called us, where He has placed us, and that we are not to overreach. Anybody? Go ahead, Mary.
I may be a little confused here, but this isn't just the stuff that they're covering. They're not just covering up stuff in the Holy of Holies, right? Because it's talking about the lampstand. The lampstand is out where all the other priests or whoever
Mhm.
Is it just the priest that can see the lampstand on a daily basis too, or can anybody see the lampstand on a daily basis?
I don't think that they were allowed to see it on a daily basis. I think the priests were the ones that were in the set-apart place, and that's where the lampstands were. They were in the set-apart place.
Okay, so there was the Holy of Holies, and only the high priest could go into the Holy of Holies.
Once a year. Only once
right,
a year.
Once a year.
He could not go in there any day at all.
And then there was another area
Right.
that had the wash base. It had the showbread, the altar, and the lampstand, and
That had to be served by the priest every day.
right. But the basin with the water and everything, that was outside of that area, and where they slaughtered the animals was outside of that
right,
area.
Right.
So in this second area was just the and the altar wasn't in that second area either. That was on the outside, or that was on the inside? Oh, there's two different altars? Oh. Okay, well that answers my question, because I was thinking anybody could see the okay, just a sec. Anybody could see the lampstand, and I couldn't understand why they had to wrap it, and not the Kohathites couldn't see it if we could see it otherwise. But you've answered my question, so thank you.
He is so determined that none of his kadosh things would be touched by the common. Go ahead.
The two altars, you had the altar outside, which they made the animal sacrifices on. Then you had the altar of incense that was inside. And that's the altar they was covering. Yes.
And even when the high priest went into the kadosh of kadosh, he had to be covered with the incense. He had the incense in there when he went in. You know, quite a time of separation there, that the Father protected his kadosh things from being in contact with anything common.
Okay, so I'm looking at this picture in the scriptures that Craig gave me here to look at. And so what we were talking about earlier were okay, there's no Gentiles. So the Egyptians are the people following with the Israelites. Could they come into this courtyard area? Or was that just for, that was for if Craig was going to go in and offer up a calf or something, he'd go in there and the priest would slaughter it, and then it'd go from there. But a Gentile couldn't go in there, right?
No, the Gentiles had to stay out in the court of the Gentiles.
And in this moving thing, there's no court of the Gentiles. That's just in the actual in Jerusalem, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Craig, did you have something?
Mary, to add in there, looking at that illustration, I don't know for sure. I'd have to look through Scripture again. The common man might still not have brought it inside those curtains. So I recall it saying a lot, the offering brought to the door of the tent of appointment, if you recall that. So they might not, the common person bringing their offering, I think, and again I'll have to go back and look, may have just brought it to the door. And then Levites inside that. Mm-hmm. And the priest would take it to the altar then for it to be burned. And I'm not sure, that might not be the case. They might have still been able to go inside the perimeter, like inside the curtains. But yes, that's definitely the way that was originally set up. There was no court of the Gentiles. That was added in by man, ages later. I don't know if it was in Solomon's. It was definitely in Herod's, but the original setup didn't. But I'd have to go back and look and see Yeah, they talk about the door. The door is often referenced, the door to the tent of appointment. So my thought of that is the boundary curtains that are around, that you brought it to that, and then the priest took it inside. And then the portion, because you get a portion of some of them, so then maybe then you would take your portion from then, you would take it back to your campfire, your area, your clan, and cook it there. I can't recall. Or maybe the priest would cook it all on the altar and then you would just be able to partake there. I can't recall.
There was
for sure.
no court of Gentiles, but the Gentiles were not allowed to come into the congregation. No uncircumcised person was allowed to come in with the congregation. So they were separated. They were kept out. Anybody? Because the father actually scolded them for letting uncircumcised people come in. Anyone? All right. Let's go on to Hosea 2:1.
Hosea 2:1. Say to your brothers, O my people, and to your sisters, O compassioned one, strive with your mother, strive, for she is not my wife, nor am I her husband. Let her put away her whorings from her face, and her adulteries from between her breasts. Lest I strip her naked, and shall set her up as on the day she was born, and shall make her like a wilderness, and shall set her like a dry land, and shall put her to death with thirst. And I shall not have compassion on her children, for they are the children of whorings. Verse 5. And for her mother has whored, she who conceived them has acted shamelessly, for she said, I go after my lovers who give me my bread and my water, my wool, my linen, my oil, and my drink. Therefore, see, I am hedging up your way with thorns, and I shall wall her in so that she does not find her paths. And she shall pursue her lovers, but not overtake them, and shall seek them, but not find them. Then she shall say, Let me go and return to my first husband, for then it was better for me than now. And she did not acknowledge that I gave her grain and new wine and oil, and increased her silver and gold, which they prepared for Baal. Therefore I shall turn back, and shall take my grain in its time, and my new wine in its appointed time, and I shall take away my wool and my linen, covering her nakedness. And now I shall uncover her shame before the eyes of her lovers, and no one shall deliver her from my hand. And I shall cause all her rejoicing, her festivals, her new moons, and her Sabbaths, even all her appointed times, to cease. And lay waste her vines and her fig trees, of which she has said, These are my harlot fees that my lovers have given me. And I shall make them a forest, and the beasts of the field shall eat them. And I shall punish her for the days of Baals, to which she burned incense, and adorned herself with rings and jewelry, and went after her lovers, and forgot me, declares Yahweh. Therefore, see, I am alluring her, and shall lead her into the wilderness, and shall speak to her heart, and give her to her vineyards from there, and the valley of Achor is a door of expectation, and there she shall respond as in the days of her youth, as in the day when she came up from the land of Mitzrayim. And it shall be in that day, declares Yahweh, that you call me my husband, and no longer call me my Baal. And I shall remove the names of the Baals from her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name. And in that day I shall make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, and with the birds of the heavens, and with the creeping creatures of the ground, when bow and sword and battle I break from the earth. And I shall make them lie down in safety, and I shall make you as a bride unto me forever, and take you as a bride unto me in righteousness, and in right ruling, and loving commitment and compassion. And I shall take you as a bride unto me in trustworthiness, and you shall know Yahweh. And it shall be in that day that I answer, declares Yahweh, that I answer the heavens, and they answer the earth answer the grain, and the new wine, and the oil, and they answer Yisrael. And I shall know, and I shall sow, Jezreel. Okay, Yisrael. Okay, and I shall sow her for myself in the earth, and I shall have compassion on her who has not obtained compassion, and I shall say to those who were not my people, you are my people, while they say, my Almighty Sovereign.
Anybody? Let's go back to 11. I shall cause all her rejoicing, her festivals, her new moons, and her Sabbaths, even her appointed times to cease. What is going on with the churches today? Can you see that this is prophetic? Yeah. Go ahead.
It's also prophetic about removing the words, the demonic words like Lord,
Yes.
God, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
They're all demonic.
That's right.
That are present today. This is prophetic for times that are shortly coming to get that squared away.
That's right. Yeah, they will no longer call the Baals, and that's what the church is doing today. The church is calling on Baals rather than Almighty Yahweh. I think it's so serious what's going on with the churches today. And I know I've made the statement before that the churches are teaching people how to go to hell and feel good about it. And I think that's what's going on. But we are seeing such a time. I am encouraged. I am encouraged that whenever we came out of the traditional doctrine, traditional non-denominational church, we came out and started keeping the feast and keeping the appointed times of Almighty Yahweh. It seemed to me like we were the only one in the world that was doing it. I mean, I know that we weren't, but it seemed like we were. But now there are people all over that are keeping the feast and keeping the Sabbath, and it's coming on that people are at different levels of coming out of traditional Christianity. But I'm encouraged that they're coming out, that they're seeing truth, and they're coming out to truth. Yes, there is a group that's not going to come out, I understand that. But the ones that the Father has His hand on, they're going to come out. They're going to open up their eyes and see. And that's what I'm praying for. I'm praying for so much. It's just like, to me, and I mean, this is personal to me, okay? But when I went down to Louisiana, and you have to understand that Louisiana is Southern Baptist and Catholic. That's basically it for the majority, all right? Yeah, there's a few Methodists and a few Presbyterians, but for the whole, it's Southern Baptist and Catholic. And to go down there and hear someone that came out of that system talking about the things of Almighty Yahweh, many of the things that we are in today, him and his family were into. So I'm encouraged that the Father is opening the eyes of all those who are calling on Him in sincerity and trying to reach the truth, that He is bringing them out of this traditional Christianity that we see today that has led people so far astray from the Father's Word that it's just unreal to me that how we could get so far away as church, that was supposed to be dedicated to the Father and lay it all on what's supposed to be His Messiah, but it's not, obviously. Jesus is not the name, So we need to understand that, yes, the traditional church is in trouble. It's in serious trouble. And I pray for it. I pray for it continually. I pray for the lost in the church and out of the church. Because I believe there's lots of people in traditional Christianity that are as lost as a goose. And we need to be concerned about them. Go ahead.
Revelation 12:9 takes your breath away.
Hey, Paul, if you would like to be heard on the recording, grab a mic. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Takes your breath away when you realize that, as Revelation 12:9 says, that Satan is a deceiver of the whole world.
That's right.
These people aren't just calling the same person that we are talking about by a different name. These people are on every church corner are praising and worshiping and depending upon their salvation to demons, to Satan. That will take your breath away when you come to realize it's just not a name change. It wasn't lost in translation. This is a plan of Satan, and that's where we are.
Well, that was the point of Constantine, to hijack Christianity and to bring it in to sun deity worship. At the Council of Nicaea, that was his whole purpose, to hijack Christianity and to bring it in to sun deity worship. And he done a good job of it. Done a good job. The traditional Christianity just fell right in with it and went with it. Anybody? Go ahead.
Well, fortunately, we are living in a time where, let's say, our ancestors did not have the opportunity that
Right.
we have. I mean, we've got computers. We have resources that ancient, or just even my folks, their age group, they didn't have the helps that we have. And even though with wisdom comes, it can come for your good, or you can search in your own head, in your own wisdom, and drive yourself away from the Father. But I like what Paul was talking about today. We have an understanding of Lord God. Those words that we used in our traditional church, churchianity, we have learned that that's pagan.
Yes.
All of that stuff that we were taught was from paganism. And I'm so enamored with the Father to allow this generation to come out. I mean, we are so blessed to be a part of the generation that comes out of Christianity and all of the paganism that it represented. Who knew? Who knew when you were a child and you would, I would go to church and I would love it. And I was being taught so, now at my age, understanding, I was being taught about the laws of demons, and bless their hearts, they didn't know. I'm like you, R.C. I cry, I weep over the church because we all at one time were there. There's probably hardly anybody here that hasn't at one time been in a church.
I am not the judge. Almighty Yahweh is the judge. But I pray that he will have mercy on those who were in ignorance. But we are in a time where truth is coming forth. Now, when you are exposed to truth and you reject it, that's a different thing. That's totally different. But as I was raised up, when I said, Lord, or called on the Lord, I did not understand that I was calling on Baal. I understood that I was calling on the term Lord as is used in the British and English language, that he was master of all. And that's what I understood. I did not have any concept that I was calling on Baal. And I think there was a lot of people that were in that area. And I just pray that the Father has mercy on them. I don't know what the Father's going to do. He knows. His ways are so far above ours as the heavens are above the earth. And His thoughts are so far above ours as the heavens are above the earth. But know one thing. Today, to reject truth is rejection. To have that opportunity to come into truth and stay in the same old traditional garbage that you were raised in, that's a different thing. Sister Gail?
We need to remember that to whom much is given, we are responsible.
Right. Much is required.
Much is required, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Left it half done.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I'm still learning, like, all these things with Lord and okay. And, whenever He gave me His Spirit, I was saying those words. And, that makes me think that it's about the heart. I really do believe that He sees the heart wholly, and when we come to Him in truth, in spirit and in truth, He will bless us with His Spirit and bring us to all truth. That's been the truth for me. And I also wanted to say that it's kind of going in and out, but so, I don't like to, I'm just still learning about the names and everything, because I'm at the point where I'm at right now. I don't really see that much wrong with Jesus and Lord and God, because I'm literally just coming out of that. So,
but I want to encourage you to come out. Don't hang on. Because we know that Jesus was not His name. That was not His name. Yeshua was His name. We know that if you look in the preface of your Bible, most of them, all right, now not all of them, but most of them, will tell you where you see the Lord and written in your Bible, they took out Yod He Vav He, which is Yahweh, or Yahweh, Yahuwah. I'm not arguing about how to pronounce it. But the whole point is that we have to get rid of the pagan names, and we have to try. I was raised with the Lord and God, Father, forgive me. I've used them, and even sometimes today when I'm speaking in a hurry, one of those names will come out of my mouth, and I will ask the Father to forgive me, because that is not His name, right, and that is not giving honor to Him.
Right.
When we were in ignorance, that's one thing, but what you're talking about now is not ignorance, but choosing not to use the proper names and to stay in the old stuff that you were raised in. That's different. That's a totally different thing there. You need to pray to the Father to impact you with the importance of using His names, because what we're talking about here was coming out of the names of Baal. What is the name of Baal? Look at Baal. Look it up. It is Lord or Master. So when we call on Lord, we're calling on Baal.
7,000 times it was taken out of the scriptures.
Yeah.
and substituted these. This is a conspiracy. It's not just in the translation like I witnessed to denomination pastors, and they've got a million different ways to tell you, well, somehow lost in this translation or that. No, it's a conspiracy. It's a satanic conspiracy.
Yes, definitely. Go ahead.
What's her name? Haley. You said when you first come into it, you was using those names and everything, and you believe the Father came into your life, and that's because the Father will meet you where you're at.
That's right.
But He doesn't expect you to stay there. He expects you to build a relationship with Him and get into His Word and study it. And then as you learn, He will bless you.